Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
It's time for the 10 best wrestling matches of 2019, according to WrestleTalk. We all kind of voted in the office. I'm Ollie Davis. This is Luke Owen. He is holding the latest edition of the WrestleTalk magazine with its own WrestleTalk 100 list, a list of the 100 best male wrestlers of 2019. It's a great read. Go and order one by using the link in the video description below. And also, please press the thumbs up button, give us a subscribe, leave a comment down below with what you think was the best match of 2019 while we kick off with number 10. The Miz versus Shane McMahon at WrestleMania 35. I know what you're thinking. That's a bad way to start this list. Trust me, all the other ones are legitimately really, really excellent in-ring encounters. However, I will defend this match's inclusion to my dying breath. This coloured me sports entertained. I don't know if I had more fun watching a wrestling match in any other time of the year than I did here. It had Miz's dad try and fight Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon beat up Miz's dad to the extent where I think he killed him. Shane McMahon fell off a bit of the stage, down some steps, and landed horribly on what seemed to be a golf cart.
Like, I love thinking back to the live stream that we did over WrestleMania, because there were moments when we were down, like really like dipping, like, oh my God, I'm really flagging.
It's a long show.
But I just think back to the amount of laughs that we had watching Miz versus Shane at WrestleMania. It was just bonkers, and I was so sports entertained by it. It was the perfect match in that sense. From AEW's Fyter Fest, Cody versus Darby Allin, because this, for me, is a match that made Darby. And that was the sole intention of this match as well, was Cody wanted to go out there and be like, hey, this kid's amazing. This kid is really going to connect with the AEW audience. And I'm just going to show the world how good he is. And that's exactly what Cody did. He went out there, gave Darby absolutely everything needed in this match. So they told a great story. And it made Darby feel like an incredible deal coming out of it.
The reason Allin is so over in Dynamite right now, where just his entrance coming down to the ring sends the crowd into a frenzy, that he can fight the AEW World Champion, Chris Jericho, and people are really interested in that match and think he could even win. It was all traced back to Cody not even losing to him. That's the genius here. And it was also the first time I really remember AEW's time limits being used so effectively. It was a 20-minute time limit draw. It told such a beautiful story about Cody kind of underestimating this guy. I mean, look at him, he's tiny, he's skinny.
What a
Rides
weird little
skateboard.
face paint thing.
Yeah, but then Darby just really got over his character by being like, I don't give up, mate. I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And Cody slowly had to adjust by getting more and more frustrated that he couldn't beat him. And then that spot, I wasn't really that familiar with Allin. I wasn't familiar with the coffin drop. When he hit that coffin drop onto the ring apron,
Yeah.
I fell in love.
Yeah. Absolutely incredible match. Really, really great stuff.
At number 8, we have a match we were there in person for, and it's Kuzuchika Okada versus the most terrifying man still in all of wrestling in 2019, Minoru Suzuki at, I nearly said AEW, New Japan's Royal Quest show, it took place a 5-minute walk from where we are right now.
And that's not the reason why it's in this list, because it was close proximity. This was a match that I think was pretty much a foregone conclusion, that Okada was retaining. And so I didn't go into this match believing that Suzuki could win. Oh, but he made me believe that Suzuki could win. The reason why this match really stood out for me, particularly over that weekend, which was just like chock full of incredible matches, is that I have always been unfairly critical of Okada matches, which has always been, hey, they're 40 minutes long, but really you don't need to watch the first 20, because it all kicks in at that 20-minute mark and it turns into the great Okada match. When you see it live, for me, I was like, oh, I get it. These 20 minutes are very, very, very important. And being there live for those opening 20 minutes was just a out-of-body experience. It was an incredible match. It's just so good. For my money, I think it's Okada's best match of the year. On that same weekend, at number 7, it's the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros in the ladder match to end all ladder matches. I'm not going to try and say what they were calling the match because my Spanish is very, very bad. You were the person who put it perfectly when they said they completed ladder matches.
They finished it. And I love ladder matches. I'm always going to get a kick out of them. But that Canadian Destroyer off the ladder through the table, it's a video game, Cole.
Yeah, there are matches that will stick with me for the rest of time in terms of ladder matches. It's Michaels, Ramon. It's the Hardys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudleys at WrestleMania 2000. And it's this.
After that, we've got Io Shirai versus Candice LaRea at NXT TakeOver Toronto.
But this was well-deserved spot on this list. NXT has completely rebuilt their women's division and have now got such a strong group that they're like, oh man, you could now fracture these off into various storylines and they can go out and have their TakeOver matches. And considering that this match was supposed to be Shirai, Kairi Sane, and Candice sort of had to be artificially fudged into this match because they were like, well, we need to finish the Shirai storyline, but the main roster stole Kairi Sane from us. The fact that they still made this work to be the best women's match in North America in 2019, I think is just, it speaks volumes. I thought these two did an incredible job. At number 5, also from a TakeOver show, which is going to be a bit of a theme here, NXT TakeOver 25. It's Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship. Now, I know what you're all saying in the comments. It should have been the first 2 out of 3 falls, or it should have been the second 2 out of 3 falls. But we decided in the office, and I will argue this point to my dying day, this was the best match of the trilogy.
I agree. And we didn't sit down and decide this. We all independently came up with the TakeOver 25 match as their best match. So the first one, excellent final fall, but I thought the first 2 were unnecessary, and it's not like the Okada opening 20 minutes. I don't think it even really foreshadowed much that happened. That it was excessive, and the third one was really, really good. But this TakeOver 25 match with all the false finishes, Era running down, trying to interfere, so good.
It was all in its simplicity. The other ones had so many bells and whistles and smoke and mirrors around it. This one was just, you two dudes are going out there and you are going to wrestle and you're going to show why this is the greatest brand and the greatest wrestling promotion in the world, and why we always put on the best shows. Because TakeOver, let's be honest, NXT always puts on the best shows. T to B, top to bottom, best shows.
Yeah.
And this match is exemplary of that. And yeah, I thought they did a fantastic job. And it was easily the best match of the trilogy.
It would have been better, though, if it was in the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah.
Speaking of segue, Will Ospreay versus Kota Ibushi at the G1 Climax.
And we joked about this in the office. We wanted to add some variety into this list because I said, really, you could have filled out this top 10 list with just Will Ospreay matches, and most of those would have been in the G1 because no one's had a better year than Will Ospreay. And yeah, Will Ospreay versus Kota Ibushi, just 2 of the best, showing why they're 2 of the best. Because you could have always argued their Wrestle Kingdom match should have been on this list because they're so good together.
Yeah.
But this G1 match was just out of this world insane. I saw someone describe it as a roller coaster. And that is a brilliant, brilliant way to describe it. It's an absolutely incredible match.
And sticking with the G1, we've put at number 3, Jon Moxley versus Tomohiro Ishii. I have tingles thinking about this match.
Yeah.
Still, Jon Moxley, not even Jon Moxley's best match. Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley's best ever match is this one.
Yeah.
It was it the first Moxley match?
It was not the first Moxley match, because he won the United States Championship.
Oh, of course, yeah, against but that was like a bloody brawl with
Juice Robinson.
With Juice Robinson. But this match is like, oh yeah, I want to see these 2 guys go up against each other. And we were watching it live because in Japan it was like 11 o'clock our time, and we put it on, and as soon as they got into the ring together and they just go head to head, just foreheads into each other, mouthing off, we were all like, stopped what we were doing and started watching this match.
And this was one of those days where you were like in the G1, you're like, we've got to watch this one, right? Like Ishii, you got to watch it live, Ishii versus Moxley. I'm in for this because I love the Stone Pitbull. And I'm very excited to see how this hard bastard takes on this unhinged lunatic in Jon Moxley. And they delivered and then some. Because it combined the best of both worlds. The best of both worlds of a Tomohiro Ishii, I am just going to nut you as hard as I can. And a Jon Moxley, I'm going to hit you as hard as I can with various bits of plunder. It was a beautiful combination. I loved it. Loved it. As much as I loved that match, at number 2, from NXT TakeOver New York, Walter versus Pete Dunne for the United Kingdom Championship. Now, I know, again, you're all going to be saying the Tyler Bate match was better. And perhaps you're not wrong. But for my money, and I think this was a joint decision in the office, the Pete Dunne match was the best match. Yeah. And we took a lot of heat because we kept saying it was the best match of the night on that New York crowd, the New York card, where everyone was like, it was clearly Cole Gargano. For me, it was Walter Dunne. I
thought it was the best match of that whole WrestleMania weekend.
Agreed.
Including the Ring of Honor New Japan show, including WrestleMania 35.
Apart from Shane McMahon Miz.
Oh yeah, obviously. I don't have to say that every time. It's without saying. But this match really was Walter's first big NXT showcase.
Yeah.
He'd already been in NXT UK, but nobody watches that show. So this was his big WWE debut kind of thing.
I wasn't sure there could be a better Walter match than the one he had against Will Ospreay at OTT. And maybe that match was better, but holy hell, Pete Dunne gave him a run for his money. What a great, great match. But do you want to take, number 1?
Number 1 just ticks every single box in terms of in-ring wrestling, in terms of character, in terms of post-match emotional angle, in terms of build as well. And that is the Battle of the Rhodes, Cody versus Dustin at AEW Double or Nothing.
I get teary just thinking about this match.
It's incredible.
And I feel like a bit of a stuck record when we've said this, but at the start of the year, if you'd have said to me, oh yeah, Cody versus Goldust is going to be your favorite match of the year, I'd have been like, no, absolutely not.
At the start of the match, if you told me that. Yeah. I think that might be one of the reasons behind its success is no one saw it coming.
No.
But in retrospect, of course we should have seen it coming.
I think they saw it coming.
Yeah.
Because they knew what they were doing. And it was just incredible work by Cody because he actually sort of works heel, but turns babyface in the match. But it's not a double turn because Dustin still remains a babyface. Good Lord, he bled like a stuck pig as well. Like he was bleeding an absolute gusher, which just added so much more drama. The various different near falls and counters and reversals it was a beautiful, beautiful match.
Our favorite kind of wrestling is this kind of wrestling. So when it's done to this extent, which is perfection, then it's going to be our favorite match of the year. Everyone in the office agreed. But I totally understand why other people would say, oh, actually, this Ospreay match is the best for me. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's totally fine.
But it was one of those moments when we were putting this list together. Like, we've all written down our favorite matches of the year. We get this document open, and you looked at me and said, I mean, we've all got the same number 1, right?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, it's Cody Dustin. Yeah. And we were like, yeah, absolutely. Everyone was like, yep, brilliant. That is definitely the best match of the year. I just thought it was just glorious.
So we've got some honourable mentions. Let's run through those. Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, not the best year for Becky, but I thought this was the best match that she had.
I like the Becky Asuka match at Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that was a really good shout. Yeah, absolutely.
Team Baszler versus Team Ripley, NXT TakeOver War Games 2019. I think that's the best women's match of the year. I know that the Shirai LaRea thing, but I think this is better. Yeah,
and I don't think you're wrong on that. But there was an absolutely, in terms of storytelling in that match as well, with Team Ripley having to come back from a 2-person deficit because of the Dakota Kai heel turn taking out Tegan, was just a brilliantly told story. Because if you want to do, like, Candice LeRae's a perfect person to put in that position. and it really, really put over Rhea Ripley strong. Great match. From Impact Wrestling, man, it was hard to pick just one Lucha Bros match, and this came very, very close for me. Lucha Brothers versus LAX from Impact Wrestling Homecoming was just absolutely insane. Just great.
LAX, of course, now proud and powerful. Santana and Ortiz. Kenny Omega versus John Moxley at Full Gear.
A match,
a bloodbath of a match.
Yeah, and a match that everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's almost too bloody." Like, did they go too far? Like, it was one of those things where we put that as the thumbnail. Did they go too far? And in the first 3 seconds of the video, go no. But everyone had left their comment before even starting the video, which was just like, "You pansies! It never gets too far." This, that, and the other. But like, I don't think it went too far. It was just an absolute spectacle match. And I found it very interesting from a Meltzer perspective, where he was like, I hated the match. Like, it's not my cup of tea, but you can't deny it's a 5-star match.
We've also got another Impact one here. Sami Callihan versus Tessa Blanchard at Slammiversary 2019.
Yeah, really, really great stuff. More great heel work from Sami, and Tessa's had an absolutely standout year in Impact Wrestling. We kind of talked about how that you had so much fun watching Miz versus Shane at WrestleMania. And I had that same feeling from All Out. Darby Allin versus Jimmy Havoc versus Joey Janela in the Cracker Barrel Clash. Oh my! I could watch this match every month for a year, and I would never get tired of it because
so much fun.
I'll just pick out a new, different favorite moment.
The one in my head right now, I think it's Havoc's mouth gets full with drawing pins, thumbtacks, and then he's super kicked and he spews them out everywhere. Great way to sell it. Cody versus Chris Jericho at Full Gear as well, the same show.
Yeah, I think it was no, it was a different show. It was All Out was the one previously.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I think this is Jericho's best match in AEW, and I do genuinely believe that's all down to Cody.
Yeah.
Because Jericho is an incredible wrestler, but Cody he had so much babyface momentum on his side that really, really carried the drama of this match, including that heck of a dive that he did where he face planted into the ramp. Hui.
And although I thought that the MJF heel turn wasn't booked perfectly at the end, that still is hugely momentous, and it makes it really newsworthy too. Will Ospreay versus Bandido at WrestleCon.
I mean, Will Ospreay was just the standout of this year, and that was, just a standout match over the over the WrestleMania weekend. Likewise, Will Ospreay versus Ishii at the G1. Again, as we said, and the other one
should have been in the top 10.
Yeah. Okada versus Zack Sabre Jr. also from the G1, whereas Zack is just insane in how good he is, and Okada's incredible. Basically, you could just take any match from the G1 and you'd be like, oh my god, it's the best match of the year. Like, it was that good of a tournament.
Well, let us know what your favourite matches of the year were in the comments down below, and we'll try to get to answering as many of them as possible. But for now, please click the videos that have just appeared on the desk to catch up with the latest awesome WrestleTalk things, and press this button right here to become a pledge hammer on Patreon. We get loads of exclusive content, and it helps support the channel. I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Luke Owen, and that was 2019.